In Thomas Nagel's article Sexual Perversion, he attempts to answer the question, what is sexual perversion? According to Nagel, in order for an act to be considered sexually perverse, it must hold true for three criteria. First, they must be sexual desires or practices that may be described as unnatural. Second, there are practices that are perverse, such as bestiality, others that aren't, such as regular sex, and other practices that are still yet to be discussed about. Third, if there are sexual perversions, they will be unnatural sexual inclinations rather than practices. First, Nagel explains the skeptical argument which contends that sex is an appetite similar to the appetite one would have for food. In addition to this, we shouldn't consider one's appetite as being perverted if he or she likes to eat paper, sand, or pictures of food. Although some might see this as weird and unhealthy, Nagel concludes that since appetite has nothing to do with the psychological aspect, it shouldn't be considered perverse. Nagel begins the next part of his argument by stating that the most important part of sex is the relational function it forms between two people, and this is what he focuses on for the majority of the article. The hypothetical situation he describes is between a man and a woman at a bar, Romeo and Juliet. Romeo sees Juliet through a mirror and is aroused. This is the first stage of sexual desire or hunger. The second stage is Romeo sensing Juliet's sign of arousal. And the final stage is Romeo realizing that he is the one causing Juliet to be sexually aroused. This final stage is capable of causing a feedback loop, such as Juliet sensing Romeo's realization that he's the one causing Juliet's arousal, and so on. In conclusion, Nagel notes that it's not good nor morally right or wrong just because something is sexually diverse. I agree with Nagel's argument in some fashion because he creates a proper example that explains how one would reach ultimate sexual desire. He does this through the Romeo and Juliet metaphor. However, this being said, he doesn't go into enough detail on certain relationships that are very important in the argument of sexual perversion. One of these topics is masturbation. I believe that this is part of the reason that sexual perversion is so controversial today. I also believe that this controversy has to do with the fact that people's preconceived notions of hearing the word perverted has a large part to do with the controversy itself. Like Nagel states that the idea of sexual perversion could be seen as something that is not good nor bad, nor right nor wrong, and it is not necessarily better or worse to be sexually perverse or not. I think that the stereotypes have a role on how people see sexual perversion, which in turn makes them see certain example perverted or not. By this I simply mean that a person doesn't want to call themselves or their actions perverted, thus making them not believe that they are perverted or saying that the situation is perverted when it very well could be. I feel that if Nagel had shown masturbation as a sexually perverse action based on his three stages, then people may see that this generally acceptable action could be perverted but not influence them as a person or show them with a negative connotation.